What is up, everybody? It's been a long week, so I've been waiting to make a video for probably about 8 days now. I've worked every single one of those days, so I'm glad to finally get back into collecting and reading some comics. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get into my pulls and my auction wins and everything else for the week. So I just got back from my local shop. So I got some pretty good finds there just now. The first one is Black Panther Annual #1. I heard Ken Lashley talk about this on the Lords of the Longbox podcast that they did, I think it was last Thursday. So when I saw I had one copy of this left at my local comic shop, I made sure to pick it up. It's got a lot of good artists on it. Mike Perkins, Daniel Acuna, and Ken Lashley. It looked like they all did work on this, so I look forward to reading that. Next up, I found the only other copy they had of Ice Cream Man #2. The first one was pretty solid read. Apparently they're all supposed to be different, so it's more like an anthology book, which I think is a really good idea for this type of title. So luckily they had one copy of issue 2 left, which is kind of the main reason I went in, is to look for this, because I've heard a lot of people on their videos saying it was a pretty solid read. So I was very glad to find that. And then the next one I found, I've heard a lot of good things about these Young Gun Marvel variants. So this is one for Doctor Strange Damnation. I have not read this book yet, obviously. It's from Javier Garron, I think that's the way you pronounce it, this particular cover. So if nothing else, I think he's going to be at C2E2 in April, so I figure if absolutely nothing else, I can just get this book signed. But with Donnie Cates working on this title and Nick Spencer, I think it'll be a pretty solid read. And then my last pickup this week, I was surprised that this was actually still there. A long time ago, I was actually last week, I think I was talking about my local comic shop having some good prices on some sets, and this one set I told myself if it was there again, I'd just go ahead and pick it up, and it wasn't there for a while. So I went in this week and surprised it was back on the shelf somehow. So I don't know if someone got it held for them, just never came back, or something like that. But here is Vengeance 1 through 6, and I picked it up for about $7.99. So I was very surprised that that's all the more it was. For those of you who don't know, the first issue of Vengeance is the first appearance of America Chavez. So, like I said, I was very surprised to find this whole set, 1 through 6, for $7.99. Doesn't look like they're the greatest quality of books, and I actually already had the first issue, so I was actually mainly the reason I was picking this up is to read issues 2 through 6. And I mean, who could not resist these covers? I mean, that Dr. Doom right there is awesome. So this is the first time I've actually ever seen that cover is when I picked this up today. So if nothing else, I'll enjoy it for the covers. But the first issue I read a while back was pretty solid. So that was my pickups in my comic shop this week. Next up, I guess I'll get into my eBay hauls next. The first one, I found this for a reasonable price. Catwoman #52, the Adam Hughes variant. Or I guess it's not a variant, it's just a regular Adam Hughes cover. $6 shipped. Didn't think it was too bad of a price. I was actually kind of looking on eBay at how much this was going for, and I think this is like the cheapest one I actually saw that's sold in the last 90 days. So collecting a few of these covers here and there. I'm not really trying to seek out all of them or anything like that, or pay a bunch of them, like a bunch for them. Like I wouldn't mind that Lost Numbers one, obviously, but I'm not going to pay that much for it. So, and then I have an auction. Actually, I do have another eBay auction win. So I started that top 10 list. Everybody has their top 10 books they're trying to buy up in 2018. And I didn't go too insanely crazy. Like I put some key books on there and just a few that I wouldn't mind having. A while back, I won an auction off, I think it was Alex the Comic Hoarder's auction, where the Doom sold me some nice Silver Age X-Men. And in that lot, I had X-Men's issues 50 and 49, which is the first and second appearance of Polaris. But they're also really good Jim Steranko covers. And I think he only did 3 covers total, so I wanted to make sure I got that third one. Luckily, I found a reasonably priced eBay auction. I think it cost $13 shipped per book, so not too bad, but not too great either. They're a little beat up, but that's to be expected when dealing with Silver Age comic books. So I'll just show this one first. It's X-Men #44. It's got that nice angel cover. Like I said, I wasn't exactly looking for this one, but you're never going to turn down Silver Age X-Men. I mean, don't get me wrong. So there's that one. The one that was on my list was issue 51. So luckily, this is the main reason I was looking at getting this auction to begin with, and actually I think it was one of those instances I put in a bottom dollar bid, and actually no one bid against me, so now I have this, so I can cross this off my 2018 list. It's just awesome Steranko cover right there. So usually anytime I see a reasonably priced Jim Steranko, I will definitely be buying it up. So now I have 49, 50, and 51, so I'm glad to add that to the collection. And then there was a third book. I think this is technically the first appearance of Eric the Red, I think. So there's issue 52 as well. So luckily I have a little bit of a chain of Silver Age X-Men going. So definitely can't beat that. And then I got a pretty nice Batman lot. I was surprised I got this for as cheap as I did. Usually anything Silver Age Batman, you're going to be paying a minimum of $10 to $15 a book. This is one of those auctions, it probably expired at like 3 in the morning or something. So one night before I went to bed, I put a bid down just to see what would happen. I wasn't expecting to win it, to be honest. But I did. So I got 10 Silver Age Batman books, so I think I paid less than $50 for the lot, so less than about $5 a book for Silver Age Batman. Like I said, I will be doing that all day. So first one in that lot, and I will preface saying that these are not great condition books, but like I said, same thing with the X-Men. When you're dealing with Silver Age, as everybody else says, low grade is better than no grade. So everybody knows how that goes. The first issue, 186, signed by Tracy. Thanks for signing that, Tracy. I really appreciate it. So, you know, I always am curious as the previous owners of books sometimes. It's always interesting getting these older books and seeing what little kid, or I guess at this point, older person, owned this book previously. So, like I said, not the greatest condition. This is probably the worst condition of the lot. There's like a page falling off, and I think there's like an ad cut out, but still pretty neat book in my opinion. Next up is Batman 204, and I do like this darker cover. And also, I was flipping through this one. This one's got a super weird story in it where basically Batman and Robin they're fighting a convention of blind people for some reason. And to emphasize that fact, all the people in this book who are blind are wearing signs literally that say, "I am blind" on them. So, and then I actually got 205 as well. So in this issue, they're still fighting the blind people. So I do like this cover. I thought that was pretty neat how they got Batman and Robin in the reflection of the blind guy's glasses. So yeah, that was cracking me up reading these things the whole time. And then the last actual Batman I got was issue 206. So a little bit of a run there, which is kind of nice. So this is just a follow-up to those past two issues. So that was great. And then I got some nice detective comics as well. So this one is 353. They're actually battling the Weather Wizard in this. I got my hopes up that the Flash was going to be in it too, but because you see him right there on the cover. But unfortunately, they're just kind of advertising that this is a Flash character in Detective Comics. And I believe Tracy struck again in this one. So I actually did want to take this out of the bag and show you guys something I thought was kind of neat. At first I was just like, oh really? They did this to the back of the cover, but Tracy was writing all over the back of this book, and at first I noticed these like stamps that were on the back, but after a while I was like, well, that'd be pretty awesome to have some like bat stamps from the 1960s. So I think that might be the Joker at the bottom. I can't tell because it's kind of rubbed off there, and above him is a pretty awesome Riddler. And then the Penguin and Batman. So I don't know, sometimes I find this stuff pretty neat. I mean, if my book's beat up, it may as well be as neat and beat up as possible, because why not? And then they were nice enough to actually try to draw the title on the back, so they even drew a little bat right there. So I thought that was kind of neat after a while. Sometimes at first I'm like, yeah, why did they have to draw in the comic? But you know, sometimes after a while I'm just like, yeah, why not? And like I said, once again, there's Tracy. Thanks for signing my books, Tracy. I appreciate that. And then I got to shout out Alex the Comic Hoarder again as well, because it's just kind of one of those instances like, why didn't I think of that before? Putting the little, like, pinching the tape right there so you don't have to have it up here. So I started putting the tape so I don't have to worry about getting tape clings on my books. So that actually worked out extremely well. Because I'll be honest, when I was, I think there was a convention in Kentucky last year I went to, and I was getting my New Mutants #1 signed by Bob McLeod. And in putting the book back in after paying for the signature, guess what happens? The tape goes like right below the signature. I'm like, ah, crap. Luckily, I got it off of there with no damage to the book, but it came pretty close. Like and I had people like next to me in line. They're just shaking their heads. It's like, what have you done? So next up, I've got Detective Comics 356, and I haven't been really shouting out the artists on these, and unfortunately, that's on me, but these are Carmine Infantino covers, a lot of them are, and I just love these old Carmine Infantino covers. So once again, this is 356, and just look at that awesome red background there. And next up, I've got 364 with that bright pink background. So, like I said, if nothing else, these are just absolutely amazing covers to have in the collection. I did want to highlight the next one. This is Detective Comics 366. And I was just laughing out loud reading this one. I'll read it to you guys. So, apparently, like, Batman is leaving some sort of clue for Robin in some sort of insane 60s crazy case he's in. So, it says, "My last will and testament of Batman, and to whom my ward Dick Grayson, known also as Robin, the Boy Wonder, I leave the round sum of $10.66. Bruce Wayne alias Batman." So, I unfortunately don't have the next issue to see what that clue was, but it's just hilarious that he would be drawing up a will to Robin with all their secret identities on there, saying, "Hey, I'm giving you $10.66. Don't get killed as Robin," since everybody else knows that now. So I got a big kick out of that. And then my last couple, Detective Comics 377. Some nice Riddler cover right there. Somehow they got Batman in jail. And then my last one, 383. It was bordering on the end of the Silver Age there. They're just sitting there eating their last meal. So, gotta love these 60s covers, I tell you. Nothing else, if they're not good, they'll at least give you a good laugh. So those are my eBay finds for the week. Last up, I have 2 YouTube auction wins. So the first one, I attended the New York Warriors auction. I think it's been over 2 weeks now. And then this is the lot I won from MannyNYC. I think it was only like 25 bucks. I don't know why no one was bidding against me. Pretty solid books. But like I just shout out my previous lot, once you get cheap Silver Age Batman, you're hooked. So this is Detective Comics 378, which I will be adding to the other pile there. So I really like that, you know, newspaper cover of Robin punching Batman. I thought that was a really awesome cover. And then I also got a Batman Detective Comics 396. So at this point they started highlighting Batgirl. So it's bordering on that Bronze Age era we all know and love. So gotta love those covers. And then he also had tossed in his auction. I didn't own this one prior, but now I have Batman Black and White #1. For some reason I just never was on board to collect these when they were coming out. I really don't know too much about Batman Black and White, if it's just like an art gallery or an actual story or what, but I'll be flipping through this later to see what it's all about. But nothing else, I know they always have like those cool covers and statues dedicated to this run, so I was excited to have those. And then the last book I got from that auction, I already owned it, but you know, why not have 2 copies, I suppose. Batman 21, the first appearance of Duke Thomas, who becomes the Signal. And then it's also the start of the 0 Year storyline, which, if you guys haven't read the Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo Batman run from the New 52, it's a pretty good pickup. I mean, 1 through 52, they're all good reads. And then 0 Year was definitely a highlight in that run. So if you guys haven't had a chance to read it, definitely seek it out. Cool to have a second copy. I think my other copy's signed, so now I have a copy unsigned if I want to get it graded or something like that. And then my last haul for the week, Great Legend had his usual auction that he usually has on Saturdays, the 1st and 3rd weekends of the month. And Big Bear was back, luckily for me, on this particular auction because I got a pretty solid deal on some Wolverine books. Once again, I was kind of surprised no one was bidding up against me too heavily on these 2 books. The first one is Wolverine #2 from that Chris Claremont Frank Miller run. I don't own any of these books, so I was glad to at least snag one of the 4 from that mini-series. So here's issue 2. If nothing else, it's just an excellent cover, so I couldn't pass this up. I think I only paid $14 for 2 books. Like, this one sells on its own for like $20 on eBay, so I was really clueless as to why no one was getting in on this action. Maybe it's because it was like the first or second lot of the night. People are still joining up. And then the other one, in my opinion, was kind of a freebie for me for purchasing this book. Was What If Wolverine Had Killed the Hulk. So it's What If number 31. Always like some good What If. So I'll definitely be flipping through this later. Like I said, I think this one sells for almost $10 online itself. So like I said, I have really no clue why that no one was bidding up against this lot either. It's a great lot. Big Bear always takes good care of his customers on these auctions, so they're always good about Lady Bear as well. They always send out tracking numbers once you purchase something from them. So if you guys are on the Great Legends auction and are purchasing from Big Bear, definitely don't hesitate to bid. He'll give you some good quality books every time. Other than that, that's pretty much my pickups for this week. I just wanted to shout out everybody who did a live stream last week. I think every single day I came home from work, or at least that night, there would be some sort of live stream, whether it be Rebel Cat, Lords of the Longbox with the Ken Lashley interview, which was really good. Yesterday there was Aim High Comics Jeopardy, so that was entertaining as well. And then the 9.2 crew had one before that, so I think everybody who had a live stream, like usually does one on their channel, had one last week. So shout out to all of you guys, those were awesome. I've watched more comic YouTube than actual television the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, you know, big shout out to everybody who puts their time into the community, because that stuff was awesome. So, other than that, thank you for watching, and thank you to all my subscribers. I think I'm up to 60 subscribers at this point. I don't know my exact count, but I'm just blown away. I figured I have like 4 at this point, maybe. So, I guess if nothing else, leave a thumb, all that good stuff, and thanks for watching.